Okey-dokey.
Whose voice is that?
Me, I was
Is that
watching
somebody?
I was watching Austin Powers yesterday, and yeah, I just for some reason it decided to stay with me. Oh, gone, gone.
I
Okay,
see.
all
Okay.
right. Yeah, all right.
I'm crisp and curry in a hurry.
Jolly good
Yes.
show. Absolutely. Okay,
And yourself?
so
You're looking
let's
very
just
beautiful in your orangeness.
thank you. I came off the phone to you and I decided, let me not have a lick and a split. Let me go and actually have a shower and wash the whole thing. And
Mm.
so here we are, nice and fresh. I decided to tie up the head in a pair of tights, and I decided to thread a ring through them and, jazz it up a bit. So a little bit of zhuzhuzhum, zhuzhum, dum dum dum,
Zhuzhing. I think they
zhuzhing.
call it zhuzhing, don't they?
Oh, right. So I zhuzhinged it. I zhuzhinged. Okay.
Zhuzhing, zhing, zing.
Zing, zing, zing. Yes. And I'll just let you know that I don't intend to cut any of this out of the edit.
Yeah, no, I was wondering that as we were going along, but I thought, you know what? It's the flow thing, baby girl. Let's do
Let's
this.
go. Yes. Okay. So we are picking up where we left off or have a recap. Sometimes when you have one of them conversations and you're like, you know what, should have been recording this. This is what we were having. Yeah. So do you want to introduce yourself? And
I am indeed. Oh, my hair's a bit unkempt, isn't it, oh chap? Sorry. I am Nunu Queenie, beloved, of the Queen of Soul Barnyard in Stockport in the UK. I am.
okie dokie. And
I'm
I
often more
am,
serious than this, but yes.
okay, you look fine. I am Laura D. Pusey, beloved of my ancestors, and I am based in Huddersfield, West Yorkshire. And I am I think more and more I'm like an investigator of death. I'm investigating her. I'm seeking her. I'm looking at her. I'm conversing with her. I'm looking at all of her assets and facets, and I'm learning death. But I'm a death care practitioner. Yeah, in short. And we were speaking about.
We were speaking in the context of both of us being death care practitioners of varying degrees and delectations. We were discussing suicide, actually. We were discussing suicide because it's a theme that's popping around us. Well, I initiated the conversation, for the record. I initiated a phone call. Yes, I initiated a phone call to Miss Laura today because I am concerned at the amount of suicide that is popping around my life at the moment and around the lives of people that I know and love. And I'm seeing effects, grief of suicide popping up significantly right now. And I called Laura to just have a professional chit chat, and so forth, and maybe make some suggestions. And here we are. We decided to share the conversation, really, with you guys out there, because we actually weren't sure, were we, Laura? We weren't sure if we were supposed to be helping about this or not.
I'm even
And I
more
think
confused. I'm even more confused now because I thought that we were just having a social chit chat. I didn't know it was a professional one.
it was social, but it kind of became, yeah, it was, because it was personal. It was a personal conversation, but yeah. it was through the filter of the work that we do.
That's it.
Because
And
our personal experience has been changed a lot by, coming out as death care practitioners. It's kind of, it changes the filter of how you experience these things in life, these happenings.
I agree with you. And the social is the professional when it comes to us, because this is our work, but it's also our life, because everybody that we know, including ourselves, will die one day. So this is social work, it's professional work, it's spiritual work, it's deep level judging at its best. It doesn't get any deeper, does it?
Oh dear.
Yeah. And so for anybody who thinks that death care practitioners have no sense of humor or any zing to them, here we are. Here we are.
Hallelujah!
Yeah. The morbid. The morbid. So, yeah, I interrupted you. You were saying, yeah, that we were at the point where we were like, is this work? Is this our work? Is it necessary to actually stop somebody who decides that they wish to end their book? Not even the chapter, is it? Is it the book? This part
Or
of
is
their
it?
life journey? And is it indeed ended? So many questions.
Is it just a paragraph?
Mm. Or a sentence. And that's where etymology comes into it, because for many people, life is a sentence. And they are imprisoned by their own walls that are put up in the mind. And those walls are thoughts. They are embedded learned beliefs. They are taught. They are consumed by those around us, society, governments, educationers, media. And there's this, guilt and shame that is attached to the decision to end one's life. And so I think there are
And
a lot
there's
of
also
people.
the cultural.
And the cultural, yeah, which is probably the biggest. And I think there are many people who are walking around on Earth today who would quite easily done it in a minute if they could. But because of those categories, let's say, they decide to carry on. One more day, one more week, one more month.
Yeah. I think we discussed this, didn't we, about having the energy to go on. It's all very well saying this and saying that to somebody who says they feel suicidal. It's all very well saying, oh, never mind, dear, it's just this moment, it'll pass. Tomorrow's another day, and why don't you sleep on it? And oh, you're a sinner. That's a sin. How could you do that? Oh, that's selfish. How could you do that to your people then? Leave them behind. How could you this? How could you that? And they don't have an iota of energy to keep going.
Tired.
They're absolutely depleted. And they're actually sick to death of hearing your glib statements. It takes a lot of energy
to end your life.
to end your life, and to listen to you talking absolute codswallop at me.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage. People think, oh, they took the easy way out. No, they didn't.
No, it's hard.
It takes the most amount of courage for somebody to go through the act of ending their life and completing it, quote unquote, successfully. It takes a lot
Yeah.
of courage and gumption. Takes a lot more gumption to take your life than to keep it moving for another 10 minutes.
Yeah. Because we have
So
the
please
will
don't
to
go.
live.
They've lost the will to live, but they found the will to die.
That's it.
They found the will to die. So don't judge. Oh, they couldn't walk a mile in my boots. Thank God for that. Thank God for that.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it, how it is seen as a selfish act.
Yeah.
Because of those that are left behind. And I don't know whether I can say that we, you know, when we have children, they cost a lot. We invest a lot in them, you know, we do a lot to keep them alive, to maintain them, to ensure that they survive and keep going. We also do a lot to make sure that they stay on the right side of acceptable behavior, you know. A lot goes into bringing a person to adulthood, and
Cultivating
so
them.
cultivating
Cultivating them.
and nurturing, and nudging them forward in the right direction. And I think regardless of how your loved one passes away, you know, it's tragic. Part of me though is saying, but it's their decision to make. And that when you
Yes, it's
make that
tragic for the
decision,
people left behind. It's not necessarily tragic for them.
yeah, yeah, it may be the biggest sigh of relief and birth into a new existence, a place, a space within which they can actually breathe and take stock of that last incarnation and decide, maybe if they've got the decision, whether they're going to do it again or whether they will go elsewhere. What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts on that? By the way, for those of you that have just joined, if you've scrolled along a little bit because you think the introduction's a bit boring, I'm just going to warn you that this can be a very triggering conversation for some of you listeners. And Laura's just asked me a very interesting question, which is, what's my take on? Well, it's a grand thing for the suicide, because now they're at rest and they're in respite and they can reflect upon their last incarnation that they've just departed from. I have a few thoughts. The first thing that springs to mind is, this idea that we are shown everything before we incarnate. That we're in the spiritual realm and we are shown our life before we come through. All of it. And there are two strands of this for me. One strand is that for some reason you were meant to carry out this act of suicide. It may have been part of your soul contract to come and do that in order to create balance for something in the universe, somebody else, for something that you may have done or said or thought or previously. And in which case, who are we to stop that person? who are we to stop that person from doing that? The other strand is that, well, you were shown everything that was going to happen. You were told it was going to be, the terrible, terrible interpretations of things were going to happen in your mind, or terrible things happen in this incumbent life. And you were shown that you would get through it, but it would be absolutely torturous. And are you sure? Because you don't have to do this. And you said, oh, no, I want to go back because look who's there, and look who's there, and look who's there, and da-da-da-da-da. So you want to come back. But of course, we come through and we don't remember. Because that memory slate in the physical is utterly wiped clean. Well, not utterly. Some people do remember bits and pieces. But utterly swept and wiped clean. So you don't remember a gosh damn thing. And then this horrendous life happens at you, and you're completely traumatized, either for the whole of your life or at certain points in your life. There will be stuff that happens. And you think, why is this happening to me? I don't understand. I'm such a good person. I don't know. Why? Yeah, that's because you agreed, sweetheart. You can't, that was the contract. That was the contract that you signed. And you said you were going to do this, and this, and you were willing to experience this, that, and the other at the hands of this system, that person, that group of individuals, whatever. Your mama, your papa, your pastor, your social worker, your favorite teacher, your favorite cousin, your absolutely deplorable siblings. Should I say deplorably behaved siblings? I don't think anybody's deplorable by nature, but their behaviour is. But that's a different conversation. So I'm trying so hard not to be judgy these days. It's ridiculous. I don't know I wonder if that's on my soul contract to learn to be just as compassionate and unjudgy as possible. Anyway, here I am.
I try to be as deplorable as possible. That's the plan.
Laura Deplora.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Laura, the deplorable, explorable Laura.
I will deplore as I explore. And the thing is, the more I go into certain places that other people fear not tread. Yeah. Oh my gosh, how can she be doing that? How can she be saying that?
Isn't it great? It's great fun, isn't it?
It's beautiful, isn't it? It is.
When pretty much everybody has written you off, that's supposed to be, your supplication and your, you can just, hey. The world is presenting itself as your oyster. Take it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. With your deplorable
like becoming a really old person who's decided they can say whatever they want and do whatever they want because they're 80, but we're not 80. Yeah.
Yeah. We're taking it early. Taking it early. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
before we come, perhaps we are given the information, the knowledge, the wisdom that we need, and then it gets wiped when we are birthed, when we splash out into this beautiful sterile terrain and are given a name and an age and the whole lot, put into the school system, work system, given numbers, and we go forth and we forget who we are. And so we forget what death is, and perhaps we forget the reason why we're actually here. And I believe that we hold it within our DNA, and that there is a link that lets us know exactly who we are and where we're going and what we're here for. But I would say 9 out of 10 of us are completely severed, maybe even more out of 10 of us. are just severed from that line or the awareness of it. And so when we do have those tremendous highs and tremendous lows that you've mentioned, it can feel very effing hopeless. And you do get tired. I'm tired. I'm often tired. I'm at a point at the moment where I'm not tired. But you've known me to be very tired. Like, why is this still? Why am I still here? And recently I've been asked, are you suicidal? And my answer is, no, I'm not. Because I don't feel that I have the privilege of dying, not until my work is done. Because I came to Earth to do something, and I'm not going to lay my body aside until it's done.
Yeah. It's called being bloody minded, I believe. And I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Bloody minded and effing deplorable. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I in mindfulness that these comments that we're making in relation to suicide are glib. They're not glib. You know, for my part, they're not glib. I'm speaking from experience.
Same.
Of having lost, but of also having attempted suicide.
Yep.
In a household of people who actually didn't give a flying monkey's doodads, who should have it, that by cultural and societal norms, could have and should have and didn't. And whilst that hard-facedness was socially and culturally inappropriate in terms of Western culture, it may be that it was entirely culturally appropriate within that household. Coming from a household where there was a lack of care from certain quarters, a lack of love. Love comes in different ways. I mean, I was fed and watered, not hung, drawn, and quartered. Not quite. It was disregarded. It wasn't even acknowledged. I came home from the hospital and there was no, I don't think anybody even greeted me when I came home. Anyway, but it strengthened me. The point I'm coming to is that it strengthened me. I should not have been here. I should not have survived what I put myself through. But clearly, and there was not a trace of anything in my blood at all. And people thought I was making it up. Yeah. But people think I'm making a lot of things up. So there you go. In terms of, you know, the work that we're doing now, you know, the take that I have as a Barmer on things like such as death and birth and the spiritual realm and bloodline trauma. Some people think I'm stark raving bonkers and they think I'm making it up to get attention, but like they did at the hospital. And I was sent to the hospital counselling department, I think it was called in those days. It's a long time ago. It's probably 40 years ago. And the poor woman who was counselling me, I ended up counselling her. I left after the third session. I just didn't bother to go back. Yeah. And really, what was in my body, I should have died several times over, and I didn't. Because it wasn't my time. That wasn't part of my soul contract to leave this earthly plane in that way at that time. And so, no, I'm not speaking from a glib place. I'm speaking from a place of understanding and compassion. You know, the jocularity. You know, that you see here between Laura and myself, it's real, genuine, real. It's not taking liberties with other people's, perceived failings or misfortunes. It's actually understanding and compassion and sympathy as well as empathy. I'm thinking about the question of whether it's our. When I say our, I mean you yourself, Laura, and me myself as death care practitioners and as facilitators of bloodline trauma healing, etc. Is it your question to me earlier on was, but is it our pathway? Is it our remit to pull people back from the brink if they're going to commit suicide and they've decided that's what they're going to do? And I think my response earlier on the telephone was, this is where divination comes in. And when I say divination, I mean a conversation with the divine creative force within oneself and within one's spiritual dimensional circle of assistance. Go to God and ask. But I don't do God. Just go. Just go inside and ask the dash question. Should I do this or not? And listen to the answer.
Yeah.
Don't get into a big old dialogue about it. Ask yourself, is it my job to pull this person back right now? And if you feel that you don't need to ask and that you just need to do it, then that is your answer. And you may or you may not succeed. But you may be doing what your soul contract dictated that you do in this moment. We're all here to do lots of different things in lots of different moments. But you do need to listen, because if it's in your soul contract that you should not assist this person at this time and mind your own bloody business, you better listen good. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no hard and fast social rules or spiritual rules here, you know. I've been in a situation in the past where I was deeply, deeply, deeply depressed many years ago when I was going through merry hell, again within family concerns. And I called an elder in my community and said, this is how I feel. I just need to say that this is how I feel, you know, in the hope that this person, you know, I'm not going to lie, in the hope that this person would give me 5 minutes to just reason with me. They did not do that. They said, whoa, that's not that's not a conversation that you're having with me. You're not here. All I know is you're not here to do that. So, and I'm not even going to, if you're going to do that, you're going to do that. It's your business. But that's not what. Go and have that conversation with somebody else. And it was very, and I was like, wow, okay. But again, what it did was it tricked my mind into being here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like getting chucked up the backside with a needle. Whoa, okay, maybe I need to rethink that. And it happened very, very quickly. Like within a couple minutes, I was like, okay, I'm back on track now.
Yeah.
But I had been feeling like that for days. I've been feeling like that for days. Yeah.
It is an energy.
And I listened. I'm fortunate that I was able to listen. You know, that I've had another time where I was feeling very, very low, very low, very, very low. And I I had pressed my self-pity button, and I wasn't talking to anybody for days. And I got into a thing with my ancestors about this, and I was like, yeah, well, some kind of flipping people you are. Da, 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 da. Look at me, I'm here doing all of this. I do everything you ask me to. I'll do it. I'll do it. I say I don't protest. I don't ask for a reason. I just do it, and it's not fair. And da 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 da. And let me get some castor oil and rub it on my nibble because you know I do it for me. I have to do it for myself. And a very quiet voice said, "Excuse me, dear, it's not all about you." So what? Look, it's not all about you. All you need to do is carry out your job. And your job is to bring joy into everybody else's lives. Get on with it.
Find it and do it. Get happy.
And I was like, oh, that's the prescription for this problem. Yeah. And I dedicated, from that moment, Laura, I dedicated myself to bringing joy into people's lives. You know, people say, you laugh too blessed much, you're laughing, Ginny. Where am with you? A big woman, you not take life serious. No wonder you have so much problem in your life. Can you not take life serious? And I'm taking this very seriously. Very seriously indeed. And I'll tell you what, I'll bet you I'm a lot happier now than you are now. Because I listened. I listened to what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I had the energy to do that. I still have the energy to do that. Again, a lot of people don't have the energy to listen to their higher self, to listen to God. They simply don't have it. Listen to God. Who the hell is God? If there was a God, then da 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 da. God. Don't talk to me about God. Listen to God. When I say God, I mean the creative force within you, the one you refer to as the Almighty, as the highest high, as the supreme being of all that is. And that could well be you.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself.
Yeah. Inside you, not through anybody else's interpretation of what that force might be, but yours, yourself, your internal dialogue. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so if anybody's looking for that voice, I was given a really good one the other day. Queenie, what was the name of your music teacher when you was at school?
Ah, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pat.
Okay. All right. So there would have been a voice that said to you, Pat, before you said to me, Pat. And it's that voice that feeds you all of your information, that has all
Yes.
of your information.
Mm.
So when you're looking to ask a question and you want an answer, that's the voice that's going to give you the answer, because that's where everything is. That is the original, the storer of all information, of all previous lifetimes, of all ancestors and incarnations and everything and everything.
Mm.
But you've said some really interesting things, and I'm really trying not to interrupt because I think I interrupt a lot. But generational trauma, generational grief, and all that kind of stuff, and yes, bloodlines as well. And this is an energy, we're talking about an energy here that is often scientifically proven, socially proven, that it repeats itself through generations. That if you have one person back there who has done that, who has ended their life, then you're going to have people down the line who are also going to do that, and further back. And I think that it's really important that we also note that there's been times in our lineage where to end one's life has been victory, salvation, relief, release, a deterrent from, you know, deplorable behaviors. You know, many times our ancestors have ended their lives rather than continue on the journey that has been put in front of them. And I'm thinking about what you're saying about divination, because it's not everybody that needs to be saved. And I think once you recognize what death is, then you can see the beauty of it, and that sometimes this is the family weaving and bobbing and flowing through their timelines. Sometimes somebody's decision to end one's life might actually give somebody else life. It might actually bring somebody else in. It might actually be the retribution, or it might be the past lifetime that is now being rectified in the now. I think I might have lost you. You've been very, very still. You're like one of those cloned people that have been freezing in the news recently.
Would you like to see my belly button?
I'd like to. I'd love to. All right, okay.
No, I mean, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm listening very, very deeply to what you're saying. And I want to...
Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Yeah. Just turn your camera off and see if I can get a better flow of your voice. And then after a while, just turn it back on again. Okay. All right.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Right. Goody goody gumdrops.
Okay. Goody goody gum yum. Yeah. So there was, I suppose there's a lot that I've just said, but sort of coming off the back of what you've just said. And when it comes to, generational grief, trauma, our journeys are spiritual. They're not actually physical. And sometimes along our generational lineage, our ancestral line, there have been people who have ended their lives. Sometimes it's been a necessity. Why can't that be the same now? Like, what's changed? I think I know what's changed. I think that death has been kidnapped in all of her glory. But sorry, carry on. What are you saying?
I'm just reflecting on what you said.
Okay.
Death, the culture of death, the social and spiritual culture of death definitely has been hijacked.
Yeah.
People are talking about, in fact, I saw something earlier on today online about Doris Day. And about how Doris Day said she didn't want a funeral, she didn't want a memorial, she didn't want anything. Doris Day, one of the greatest bringers of joy in the Western world in those days, said that she didn't want any of these trappings at all. I don't know how they actually dispensed with her physically. They may have just burned her and flung her in the bin. I honestly don't go down. I'm not being disrespectful, but that is possibly what they did. So Doris Day didn't have a funeral, but Michael Jackson did have a funeral, and Her Royal Highness the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, had a right royal funeral. And when you go to Moss Side in Manchester and somebody passed through, you go down at the graveyard and you see the sound system up in the cemetery.
Okay.
How people I jump up and down and I smoke weed and I drink and I pour whiskey on the grave and I slush it everywhere and ting and ting and ting. There's a part of me that finds that unacceptable. However, on the other hand, I think for most people who do that, they are understanding the depth and gravity, literally, of funerary work. And you know, there is a possibility that they are using it as an opportunity to express the licentious part of their nature. But it may also be that the ancestors in their bloodline may equally be licentious, or just have their own spin on how things are, you know, how it trod on free foot now, the ceremony, because they don't have the Kumina stuff going on publicly anymore. It's under the carpet, yeah. They don't have the drumming, the chanting, the thising, the thating. So that may be the way that their ancestors come through for them on the day. But there is.
Okay. Can we have your camera off?
Or the fact that your death is your. Turn it off?
Yes, please. Okay, so you were saying that may be how their ancestors are manifesting or
yes,
welcoming the spirit back. Carry on.
Yeah, that may be their spin on it in the contemporary context, the now, what we do now, how we live now, etc., etc. They know more than we do about the situation, but it does point to the necessity for the act, for the ceremonial act of death, and dispensation of the body. That is something that we do. Somehow we've managed to hang on to the fact that it is important. It is the most important ritual you'll ever have in your life.
Yep.
Is your death ritual. It's more important than your naming, because what happens thereafter, so we really need to make it work as best we can for you. And it's really important that we hold on to these death traditions. And some of us do. We go to church, and we go to the mosque, and we go to synagogue, and we go to whatever, and we do all these other stuff. But wrong the corner. We're maintaining the traditional stuff. What's important is that we don't just maintain it, but that we actually pass it on to our children so they know what to do as well.
Yes, yeah.
Because what that does is and other people know this. They know this about us, and we are kind of forgetting. It inhibits the capacity for more bloodline trauma, more intergenerational trauma and suffering. So we need to strive to get it right as much as possible. And in the context of suicide, we definitely need to get it right. Because this conversation is about suicide, primarily. We need to do divination so that we understand what needs to happen for the person who passed. We need to understand all of the circumstances on a spiritual level around it, on a precursory level spiritually. But yeah, what are your thoughts about this, Laura? I'm waffling endlessly.
Yeah, no. I'm kind of like, I think that there's something that I want to say, but I don't I don't know it in its entirety yet. So, and I know that it's for my future, but I've just been given glimpses of it, on how in the future I will be working with people and with the dead once they have died to explain why certain things have happened and to tie up a lot of loose ends. But I think that the reason why my work is important, let's say, is because we need to be dying on a higher vibration, on a stronger frequency. And that means then that, yes, I'm working with end of life, I'm working with death, but I'm very, very much working with life and getting that life cleaned up and the lives of those that have come before us and cleaning up. I once heard it said ages ago that every hurt, every trauma, every pain that our ancestors experienced is within us here now, us who walk the earth today, and it is our job to clean the whole lot up and literally tie off the Pisces era so that those that are now born through us into the Aquarius can actually have the full Aquarian experience, which means that everybody who's on earth today has the work to do of cleaning up their bloodline. And it will manifest in pain. It will manifest in those thoughts of wanting to end it. It will manifest in abuse. It will manifest in so many different weird and wonderful, ugly and beautiful ways. And for those who are living on earth today, we need to recognize that we're not just living our lives, we're not just completing our lives, but we're completing the lives and the cleaning up work of those that have come before us. So I perhaps feel that actually when somebody does decide to end their life, it probably wasn't even anything to do with them. It may not have been anything to do with them, but it's fallen on them now, and they agreed and they forgot, and it was murkier and dirtier and harder and muckier and filthier than we expected. But here we are. And as you've explained, we're having this conversation, but we're not exempt in any way. And I too had an experience similar to yours, tried to end it, and I was told, my mum said to me, I've missed out on a day's wage because of you. Right.
Lovely, 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 lovely.
Sorry, I say from the hospital bed. Sorry, and many a times we have these kind of experiences and it is just brushed aside. All right, well, made a mess of that, innit? Carry on, get on with it, But I've also had experiences where I've been like, why am I still here? And I've been shown, well, you can be paralyzed from the head down, neck down. You can just come back, or you can just do what you came to earth to do. And so here I am. I am back here doing what I've come to earth to do. And for some people, doing what they've come to earth to do may be ending that process so that certain experiences are killed out with it, that they won't get passed on. Maybe it's a matter of doing that process so that somebody else in the bloodline doesn't have to have that experience, or grows from that experience, or can forgive or learn or give birth to a new system that then creates enriched lives for one heap of other people in the future. If it wasn't for all the people that had died in my lifetime, this one here that I'm aware of, I wouldn't be doing the work that I'm doing. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and she was telling me about somebody who's caring for a parent, and it's very, very hard. And I had to say, you know what, I'm glad that both of mine are gone. And I'm glad for the experiences that I had with them. And I'm glad that I'm not having that experience. But somebody else is having that experience and this experience and that experience and this, and, you know, but that means then that I can be here and I can support as much as possible.
That's right.
Because I've had the experiences that I've had. Does that mean that I've answered your question? Probably not. Have I gone off on a rant? Absolutely yes.
But it is a conversation, though, yeah.
It is a conversation, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I'm not going to be dictatorial that you have to answer every single question that I put forward.
Okay, thank you. But, you know, when it comes to divination, yeah, I say ask, because you never know, you know, and maybe somebody will come my way and I'll ask and I'm told, no, leave it alone. That's Queenie's job. Okay, go and speak to Queenie, because she's actually got something that you can physically take or that you can actually do to help you in a way that I can't, you know, and it's okay. And we might work with somebody and they might decide to take that decision anyway, but it doesn't mean that our work has been lost on them. It doesn't mean that our work has killed them. It just means that they've taken the next step, and maybe that next step was out of their
That's right.
awareness hands.
Yes.
Yeah. I
In
wish
fact,
go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I wish I had a glass because my throat's dry and I've got a bottle of drink. I don't have a glass.
Oh, I've got a...
Okay, I think I've lost you. If you can hear me, can you turn your camera off and then I can hear what you're saying?
Yeah, you need to get some of that, geezer.
Okay.
Before you go and do that, I wanted to talk about what's in my hand. This is a bottle of soulful grief relief tincture from my homeopathic dispensary. It is a compound of several homeopathic potencies of different types and variations. And it is available. If you contact me through Queen of Soul Yard on Facebook, you can grab a bottle of this. This bottle here is 15 ml. And it comes in a spray. You just spray it under the tongue. I'll show you. Look.
Do it.
Under the tongue like that. Yeah? $15.50 for that. But I offer this remedy to people who are suffering, clearly, because of the name, suffering from grief. And I'm putting it on the table here because those suicidal feelings, tendencies that we have are rooted in grief.
Mm-hmm.
Grief which has been unaddressed,
Mm-hmm.
which has not even been acknowledged. Grief which can be dissipated in a heartbeat. Yeah. Especially because, you know, speaking from, don't be offended, anybody who's not, speaking as one darkie to another, yeah? I made this, and if I make it, you take it. If it's going to work, it's going to work pronto. It's going to work really quickly, because melanated people, when we transmit frequency medicine between us, I see Laura just chortling in the background. Yeah. It works real quick. Yeah. Of course, it works for everybody else. I'm not. That's it would be completely stupid to suggest anything else. I'm simply saying that melanated people transmit frequency really, really quick. On the same, and that is the same basis that they are able to direct crack and distorted weed, skunk and all those awful, awful, spice and all those horrible things. They direct it at us because we are melanated. We just soak it up like that. Yeah, because they understand that frequencies we absorb quickly, quickly, quickly. There is scientific proof out there. If you don't believe me, Google melanated prescriptions and frequency transmission, melanated people. Google those kinds of things and come back to Queen of Soul Yard. Drop me a little message, yeah? Drop me a little message in on Messenger, or send me send me a WhatsApp message. It's all there on Facebook, and show me what you found about melanated people and frequency medicine being transmitted between them. Other people know this about us, and that's why we've been able to be incarcerated for the last few hundred years. Yeah? It's not time for that, and it's not time for that conversation. I'm simply saying frequency medicine, melanated people, Bantu people, indigents, get on with the frequency medicine. Go to other melanated people, people who have the same kind of spiritual frequency issues as yourself. Let's start doing this with each other. Yeah, help each other to get over this stuff and save the lives of those who need to be saved. If it's your time, I always say as a death care practitioner, if it's your time, it's your time. And if it's your time to go in that particular way, then it's your time to go in that particular way. But if it ain't, do something about it. If you don't come to me, go and get some hypnotherapy from Miss Lara here. Because, she doesn't blast it all over the place, but she's actually a hypnotherapist. I'm very good at it too, I must add.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm on the platform with her. I've been hanging out with her for the last few years. We got stuck with each other, during the lockdown. Oh, God, it was awful, wasn't it? We got stuck with each other and got to know each other's whys and mores. And I can tell you she's a brilliant hypnotherapist.
Thank you.
And she's also melanated.
In case anybody, didn't think so, I am.
Have a look-see.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I think that when it comes to a lot of the videos and interviews that I do, I think that, they won't get many views like now. And, I think that we just need to keep on talking to each other, because there's going to come a time when people are like, shit, this is what I needed. And it's going to go bang.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And, I know that a lot of people speak about the decision to end one's life as like, oh, and you don't want to do that. And you want to stay here. And you want to carry on living. And you want to be at peace with yourself on here, on earth, in your body. And life will get better. And I don't think that you will find videos of people saying it as it is. This is the experience that I've had. This is the reason why I'm effing tired. I understand, I overstand, I understand all that you are saying. I get it because I've been there. And I know that I work with people all the time. I'm in contact with so many people who are at that point. And there are some situations where I have to say, yeah. Yeah. There are others when I think to myself, flipping heck, that's what you're crying over. I'm in a worse state than you, mate. You know?
What you want me to help you?
Yes. And so, as you do, spreading your joy, you turn up every time with a smile on your face and you go about your business, innit? But
Yeah.
yeah, because things like that, these kind of conversations are not actually out there. I think that's why it's so much more necessary. And I think that it's a relief when you hear somebody say, actually, you can, if you feel that's what's necessary. And there is so much more to it. The spiritual element in society, in science, in life, in the physical, the spiritual will always be pushed aside and ignored. But that's where the life is. That's where the knowledge is. That's where the wisdom is. That's where your power is. That is where your right to govern yourself, your sovereignty, that is your only authority. And that is what we often don't hear.
And it is, it is your sovereignty. It is your sovereignty. You need to do it if you can, in full knowledge of what can happen for you when you transition in that way. And it behooves me at this point to advise people very strongly who feel that we're sitting here advocating
Advocated
for
it. Yeah, no.
to commit suicide. That's not what we're doing here.
No.
We're simply being pragmatic. We're taking a pragmatic approach to this discussion on the feeling.
She dropped down. Yo, pop down.
She dropped this one. Where you going? Sorry.
Okay. You're right, love. You took a tumble.
I think the phone took a tumble, yeah. It looked
I'm
like
just
ours,
glad.
but it was a phone, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad that you've got jeans on. I'm glad that you're not sitting there naked from the top down. My word.
That would have been an interesting journey for the viewer.
Yeah, because I wouldn't
We would
cut
have had to edit it after all. Anyway.
Your nether regions.
You see, this is live TV, folks, yeah?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Yeah, I
what
nearly
was I
saw your
saying?
Nunu. Yeah.
Have a look up at Nunu's Nunu. Da, 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 da.
So yeah, we're not advocating. We're not telling you to go out there and do it. We're not giving you permission. We're not saying it's okay. But what we are saying is that life is to be lived to the fullest. It's to be lived
Life is to be lived to the fullest. And death is also to be deathed to the fullest.
Oh.
So if you are going to do something like this, please leave a note. Please leave a note saying what you require to have happen, and whom. Specify a person that you entrust to carry out your funerary rites. And if it's the local humanist society, then so be it. But take care of your soul before you go. Make sure that you have even thought about who is going to administer to your death. Depending on what cultural tradition you are in or whatever cultural tradition you might come from, have somebody in mind. And I know that can sound ridiculous given the fact that we've just been talking about how little energy one has at the point of feeling like this and not at the point of actually going down this particular route. But I'm saying it anyway because I'm a pragmatist. Even though everybody thinks I'm a bit la 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 la, I'm a pragmatist. Write it down. Write down the name of somebody. In it, Miss Laura.
Absolutely. And I'm very fond of writing. I'm a big fan of writing. And I remember once when I was little, I used to get into these really, really terrible little stinking tantrums. Not a tantrum, it would be full all out rage. Very, very angry. And my mum once gave me a pen and paper and said, write it down. Whatever it is, just write it down. And so there was one time when my dad had died, and I didn't know what grief was. I knew what death was, but I'd never encountered grief. And I was very suicidal when he died, even though I had two children, a very brand new born baby and a 4-year-old. And I thought to myself, I need to write it. I'm going to end it. And I wrote a letter to my best friend. And, you know, I woke up again in the morning and that was it. Went back to work, carried on. And sometimes just writing it down is all you need to do. Just get it out, put it on paper. You can keep the paper, you can burn the paper, you can send the paper. You know, if somebody has hurt you, write it down, write them a letter. You don't have to send it, but write it out of your system, you know.
Yeah.
And what you've just suggested is so beautiful and so therapeutic. You're tired, you're at your last ebb, but write it down. Even if it's not for anybody else, do it for yourself. Write yourself a goodbye letter, you know. Tell yourself, I'm doing this because I love you. I'm doing this because I can't do it anymore with you. And then ask yourself, well, who is the you? Who is that you that you're writing to? Because the chances are that that you does have the energy that you need to carry on. And if you can connect with that you, then you find the God in you. That voice that told Queenie what her music teacher was back in the day. You know, the other day I was asked, what was the name of your art teacher? And I was scrabbling around. I had all these names of all these other teachers, and all I could see was this very dark little witchy looking woman, dark hair, straggly, very witchy woman. And then I woke up in the morning and it was like, oh, Misty. Okay. And her name was given, and it was like, that's the God in me. That's my
That's right.
almighty.
Yeah.
That's my higher being. That's my everything. That's the Laura before the name was given, you know, before the journey, the decision to live the life of Laura. They could have called me Mildred, and I could have lived Mildred's life. They were going to call me Charmaine, but they didn't know how to spell it. But I'm just talking about that being that splashed out onto the earth before it was labeled, that knows everything. That's the God in you. If
Yeah,
God
that's
is,
a great explanation, Laura. Yeah, particularly for those of us who are, you know, atheist and who are don't acknowledge there is that divine part of one's self or one's life, whether it's internal or external. You know, it's internal actually, folks, but some people believe it's you know, outside.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a great explanation. Thank you for that, and I hope some listeners will hear it and pass it on. Pass it on as you know, great advice and great insight. Um, I appreciate this. You know, I appreciate being able to do this online.
Same. It's necessary, and we've had some really deep and crazy little conversations, as you can imagine. And we've gone off on some real tangents into some really deep and weird and wonderful places. and then come out the other side and said, should have been recorded, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm really,
Yes. We are. Yeah.
yeah, I'm appreciative of the fact that despite everything that normally happens when we try to go online, we have been able to have a relatively stable conversation online that is recorded, that will be filtered through to many places. I don't often say like and share. I don't know what we would call this.
Definitely like and share this one.
Yep. Yep.
To share this with anybody that you love. Love and share the heck out of this one. And
And
drop us your comments.
off the comments. And I stand by what I've said. I don't take back my chat, as they say. No, I'll take back my chat.
I'm back with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is
She's
what
so
it
posh,
is.
isn't she, folks?
Mm.
I'm not taking back my chat, she said. I'm not taking back my... Is that what you said? I'm not taking back
Yes,
my chat.
I'm not taking back.
Shinani, I'm back, she chat. You hear?
Yeah. No, I'll take back the chats. It is what it is, you know. And we have to be having these conversations, and we have to be speaking openly and honestly and you know, without judgment and freely. We have to, because so many of our brothers and sisters and those beyond are having these thoughts, and they are going round and round in their minds, and there's turmoil. If you want to contact me, you can do so via 07975 861089. My company is Dipism, that's DIPISM.com. You can find me at FACFO, that's FACFO.org. And I'm on TikTok, Dipism, Instagram, Dipism, Facebook, DJLP, Laura D. Pusey.
Ah, there you are. I didn't
And
hear
there's,
any of that.
oh, you didn't?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I was just telling everybody where they can find me. So if you could do the same, let
Okay,
us know.
so yes, I will do. So I am Nunu Queenie, beloved. Nunu Queenie, beloved. You can friend me on Facebook at Nunu Q Kande, Kande. I have a Facebook page, Queen of Soul Yard, which is where you will find all of the trappings and tribulations and joyful journeys of death care practice, healthcare practice, wellness, a creative healing, etc., etc. This is where you can pick up the grief remedy, the soulful grief remedy. You can pick it up if you contact me through there. My telephone number is 07921 887549. My email address is queenofsoul@mail, mail.com. queenofsoul@mail.com. You can also hit me up on WhatsApp on that same number, 07921 887549. It would be great to hear from you. I particularly do invite you to share comments. You know, even if you're not sharing comments with us, but it would be really great if you did. You know, as you share this video, the link for this video, have conversation, use it as an opportunity to have conversation with other people in your circle. You know, make this video a film night. You know, gather together people in your community who you know have experienced the loss of somebody through suicide, or you know, groups of people who have experienced being suicidal but are still here. Have film nights. Use this and have film nights and have discussion. We want you to start thinking about suicide and all its permutations. When we personally are not interested in statistics. Statistics has got nothing to do with really the price of fish in this discussion. This is a practical, pragmatic approach to an epidemic situation. You know, we are surrounded, the two of us are surrounded by people wanting to commit suicide, talking about wanting to commit suicide, trying to commit suicide, or being left behind from suicide, or people who have committed suicide and we're having to help them to process going forward. We are pragmatists. We practice death care. That is what Laura D. Pusey does, and that is what Nunu Queenie Beloved does. We practice death care. We will hold your hand. If you're going to commit suicide, call on one of us to hold your hand. Yeah? Call on one of us to hold your hand in any way, shape, or form you like, be it before or afterwards. Yeah? Call on one of us and let us know this is what's about to happen. Can you, this is the person I would like you to contact when I've gone. You can do that. These are the ways that we practice death care. It's not an easy ride. It's not a lovely, 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 jubbly thing to have to do, but we're here to do it. And if it's our journey to do it with you, for you, we will. And if we're told, then we won't. Simply put, yeah? So, Laura,
Nunu,
what say you, my dear?
I say thank you for this conversation. I look forward to speaking with you again, same time next week.
Yes, likewise. Thank you.
Okay, and let's put this out there.
We did it.
Out. Yeah, we did do it.
Thank you so much, and to all of you listeners that have stayed the course of this conversation. Please do get in touch with either Laura or myself. The details will be below this video of how you can contact us. So don't worry about having to scroll to the right bit to remember. It's all going to be there for you. Okay? Sending you lots of love, Miss Laura D. Butterfly kisses to you all. Farmer beloveds, family. Mwah, 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 mwah. Keep it real, keep it sweet, and keep it light. Mwah.